Hi, in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the commonly asked questions and discussions I have with buyers, whether they be first-time buyers or experienced buyers. And one of the first ones is, should I get pre-approved? And the short answer is yes, you want to get pre-approved as soon as possible, but you also want to make sure that you understand the difference between a purchase price and a monthly payment. Very often people are concerned about how much the purchase price is when you're not realizing that you're not going to be living with the purchase price a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. You're going to be living with a monthly payment that entails a mortgage payment of property taxes, interest, homeowners insurance, mortgage insurance, if you're paying it, among other things. And that's what you have to be okay with. And you want to make sure you make the right decision so that you don't look back a year or two later and say, what have I done? Um, Sometimes I get asked the question, how many houses should we look at? And that's all a very personal choice. But today's reality is, as a buyer, you have more information available to you than ever before. In many cases, you know more about a house than the seller themselves does before you get up out of your chair. There's so much information from sites like the multiple listing service where I send from, Zillow, Trulia, public records, just all sorts of information out there to get an idea. So by the time you go there, you really know if you're interested in it or not. These days, we're not going up to houses where you walk in and just have no interest with them. You're telling me what you want to see. I'm not bringing you out to houses that have no interest to you. Um, Another one I get asked time, or sometimes people tell me, well, how much will the seller take off? What will they take? Am I going to get a good deal? Um, Real estate is not about buying a deal. This is a place where you're going to live. It's where, for many of you, you're going to raise a family, spend a lot of years. So you can't think of it in terms of a deal. It's a much bigger decision. I often talk about it with my clients when we talk about where do you want to live, not just a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. And if you look at in those kinds of lights, that you may make the wrong decision and find yourself in a few years with a place that you really don't want because it was a deal, and you now have to move and probably lose money. So we don't want to see that happen. So buy the right house. It's always a matter of timing. Everything we talk about in real estate is a slice in time. And what we talk about today was not true yesterday, and it may not be true tomorrow. You just don't know. Figure out where you want to live. The other thing is, well, how much off will the seller take? Well, they may not be willing to take anything off. But typically, what our numbers tell us in this area, generally in Connecticut, New Haven County, is most properties sell within the 90 percentile of what they're listed at. And I want to remind you that this is not a TV show. This is real life. These are people's homes. They're their assets. So they're not going to give them away. If you make an offer that's outside of, let's say, 10%, 20% off the asking price, what we would call a lowball number, you may not even get a response out of them. It just unfortunately doesn't work like that. I know when people watch the TV shows, it does, but that's just not how it is. You have to decide if you want to live there or not, if you want to pay another year's rent while you're doing that. Those are some of the questions that you need to figure out. Also, how long does this process take? Generally speaking, from the point that you locate a property, we make an offer and have an accepted offer, it's about 35 to 45 days to close, encompassing a home inspection, appraisal, mortgage commitment, title searches with the attorneys, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes for some programs, first-time buyer programs like CHFA, where there's down payment assistance, or mortgages, rehabilitation mortgages that build repairs into the process, they can take a little longer. For people sometimes putting down more deposit, more heavily qualified, it might be able to be done in about 30 days. And then, of course, there's cash buyers. Those are the ones that go the fastest. They can be in as little as a couple weeks, but usually 30 days or under for cash deals. And another question I get asked is, can I get out of the deal? Well, keep in mind, when you sign a contract, you've done just that. You've signed a contract, but there are a couple of potential outs if you're unhappy. Number one is through the home inspection. And I have another video that talks much more about the details. but you're going to have a certain period of time, usually 7 to 10 days, to do a home inspection. And if the home is not into satisfactory condition to you, you can terminate the deal and get your deposit back, as long as that's done within writing and within the dates that we set on the contract, and also true of the mortgage contingency. If after even receiving a pre-approval, if the bank declines you mortgage commitment, we usually can terminate the deal and get your mortgage back. But you just can't terminate for any old reason. You can't just say, hey, I changed my mind, I got cold feet. While you can certainly not proceed with the contract, with the purchase, you may risk losing your deposit as liquidated damages at that point. So hopefully this answers a bunch of questions. I know there's more, but these are just some of the most common ones. Feel free to ask any more. Thanks.